Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness, and this month we are also all about the Beat Inflation Pantry Challenge that I know a bunch of you are joining me on. I hope that you're having a good time and you're finding all kinds of great stuff. This month is about empowering you to save money, to reduce waste, to make the most out of the food that is in your kitchen, in your pantry, so that you don't have to go to the store. That's what it's all about right there. The more that we know how to use what we've got, the better we are financially and every other way. Today, we are going to tackle some fun projects, just a couple of them. They're actually fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with them, I promise. And we are going to create a couple of DIY substitutes, super simple, for things that a lot of people use all the time. And I think one of them in particular, I'm super excited about because all of the recipes to date that I have run across, you had to keep in the refrigerator. That does me no good at all. None. So we're going to show you shelf-stable ways to have what you need when the time comes. Let me tell you about how much fun all of this stuff is, right? Massive cost savings. So this is probably the most obvious benefit about the whole thing. Why pay $10 for a, little thing when you can make a whole bunch more with ingredients that you know and trust that is shelf-stable? Massive cost savings. Accessibility and convenience. Have what you need in the house. You don't have to run to the store for that one ingredient because you can make it up here. And with these two things, you can make a ton of different stuff. The next one is reduced food waste. If you don't need an entire can or an entire batch, you can reduce the recipe to make only what you need. I love it. It's flexible and it's creative. So you have the flexibility to change it up, to add a little of this, to take away a little of that, to change the flavor altogether. And that is creativity right there in the kitchen. One of my favorite places to be creative. And dietary adaptability. If you're allergic to dairy, you can use water on both of these recipes, right? You can swap many of these ingredients for comparable ingredients that are allowed in your diet. That's why these are fantastic. That's why making your own is always better. Something that we use, well, not as much as we used to, but definitely still like having it around is Bisquick, right? But I don't want to deal with the price because it's kind of out there for what's involved in it. And I would rather have control to be able to make what I want when I want it instead of having to run to the store. Ooh, have I got one for you today? Because this is different than most other do-it-yourself Bisquick recipes, right? Because a lot of them will add in fat of some kind, like a lard or a butter. And nope, we're not doing that. No, we are not. You do need an airtight container to keep this in because that part you need. You do not need a refrigerator though, and that's probably the best part. You're going to need a mixing bowl. You know I love my mixing bowls, right? Flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, and Thrive Life butter. Yes, it's butter powder. Okay. Yes, you can use butter powder. You know what the best part about that is? You don't have to put it in the refrigerator. And so for somebody like me who doesn't use this very often, it doesn't make sense for me to use a recipe that I have to keep in the refrigerator and is only good for a certain amount of time. But to be able to make up a batch of this and know that I have a very long time, comparatively, I have like a year or more, in order to use this quantity, then that's perfect for me. That is absolutely perfect because not everybody goes through massive amounts of Bisquick every single month, right? Every single week. We don't even go through that much in a year. So we have some all-purpose flour here in our bowl, and I just put in 5 cups. Now we're going to put in a 1/4 cup of baking powder. Oof, and it poofs. Baking powder is not baking soda. Okay, so a 1/4 cup. You're just going to put that right in there and try not to make too much of a mess, but we are talking about me, so it doesn't matter. Now, the nice part about the sugar is that it doesn't take very much at all. It only takes 3 tablespoons of sugar. And so now we're going to add in that to the bowl. I can probably take that 1/4 cup measurement out of there. Then we're going to add salt. And so it takes literally 1 teaspoon of salt. That's it. And then we have the butter powder. So this is Thrive Life's butter powder. As you know, I'm a Thrive Life consultant. Okay, but on top of that, I also use this stuff a lot. And so I'm going to take this and is it 1 cup? So 4 of these. So 1 cup of butter powder. Now, there are so many reasons why this is better than adding the other stuff. And we will go over those in just a moment, okay? And poof, now we need a whisk. So you've got everything in your bowl there, and you're just gonna mix that up really good. You want to make sure that it's all getting incorporated together, because otherwise it doesn't taste as good, you know, but it'll get mixed up, trust me. Now, here's some really great reasons. I got 10 reasons for you why this is so much better than the DIY Bisquick recipes that you run across that have actual butter or lard in them. Okay, it's because 1, it's a better flavor. I kid you not, it is a much better flavor. It has that wonderful butter, rich, wonderful taste all the way through it. There's like literally not a way to miss it, right? And you don't have to worry about greasiness of shortening or oil. Bonus. Okay, can I do this without making a mess? Probably not. And it gives your mix a homemade flavor that seriously rivals Bisquick. So while I call this a DIY Bisquick, this is so much better. So much better. It has cleaner ingredients. I mean, you saw what I put in there, right? It has cleaner ingredients. This is butter ingredients. Butter. Non-fat milk solids. Yeah, that's it. So good stuff. Good stuff. And many DIY Bisquick recipes rely on shelf-stable oils or shortening, which often contain hydrogenated fats or preservatives. We don't do that here. No, we don't. Butter powder is made from real butter and can be sourced with simple, recognizable ingredients like we do at Thrive Life. That's why it's so great. It's shelf-stable, but it's still real. Because normally, if you say shelf-stable, there's some kind of, what in the world is that ingredient in there, right? Nobody needs that. Nobody at all. So, real ingredients. It gives you the convenience of long-term storage without compromising on real food quality. Unlike fresh butter, it won't go rancid quickly. And unlike shortening, it doesn't feel like a science experiment. It's just that right there. It's so great. It has the best superior texture. Seriously. Butter creates a lighter, more tender crumb in biscuits, pancakes, and waffles. Shortening can leave baked goods dense or greasy. With butter powder, you get that flakiness and tenderness every single time. Poof, just like that, right? One-step convenience, no need to cut in butter when you're ready to cook. Thank you. Nobody needs that at all. It's definitely more versatile because butter powder blends easily with other dry ingredients, and you can use the mix in sweet or savory dishes, which I love. Less mess, no waste. No greasy wrappers, half-used sticks of butter to deal with. No boxes to have to throw out. It's perfect, okay? Very cost-effective over time. While butter powder may seem pricier upfront, the ability to make a large batch of shelf-stable mix saves you money compared to buying refrigerated butter or store-bought mixes, tossing spoiled dairy, all that kind of stuff. I don't have room in my fridge for this. Are you kidding me? Especially not for an extended amount of time. No refrigerator is required. It's perfect for our prepared pantries, okay? Keeping on hand for emergencies. You can mix it up with no problem. Great for power outages, RV life, or skipping a trip to the grocery store, my friends. In side-by-side comparisons, recipes made with butter powder-based Bisquick consistency win on taste, texture, and satisfaction. It's seriously a pantry staple that you actually look forward to using. I'm going to use so much of this. So how do we use it, Lisa? Ha! This is so easy, you guys. So very, very easy. Okay, we're going to show you guys how to make waffles with this mixture, but I have included, yes, I have included recipes for waffles and pancakes and biscuits so that you know how to use this stuff, okay? So first, I've got my little dash out here, and it's heating up. We're going to use 2 cups. Okay, 2 cups of the do-it-yourself biscuit, right? And then we just put the top back on that container and put it over there. Next, we are going to use a cup of milk or water. So if you can't handle milk, then that's fine. Just use water. I'm going to use milk. So we've got a cup, but because we're using butter powder and not actual butter, which is, you know, a moisture in and of itself, we're going to add 2 tablespoons extra of milk because it kind of makes up for the moisture of the butter or the lard. Okay. And then we're going to do 2 eggs. Look at my girls. My girls are starting to lay, my little girls. 50 new chicks this year, and they're just now starting to lay. Okay, look at those. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Okay, those go to the worms. So now we just do this. This is a basic waffle mix. Seriously. Just mix it up. You can probably use a bigger bowl than what I'm doing, right? But no, I had to grab the small one because I like proving to you guys on a regular basis that I can make a complete mess in the kitchen. But you're going to mix this up. If there's a few lumps, it's really not a deal breaker. It does not matter. If you want, which I think I do, but if you want, you can add a little vanilla flavoring to this, you know, vanilla extract or any other kind of extract that you might have around that you enjoy. And that will just amp up the flavor. Look at that. Look at that. Just that simple. So now we are going to make some waffles. Okay. I am making such a mess. Okay, so we've got our little hot waffle maker there. See, it's all heated up. And I'm going to just put some of that in there. Don't put too much because it makes a mess. We're going to put that down and let it do its due. It will tell us when it's ready, which is so nice. So just some extra tips for you while this is making us a little waffle, right? Is that butter powder substitution, when you're using butter powder in baking, you generally add it directly in with the dry ingredients and increase the liquid amount in the recipe according to the butter powder manufacturer's recommendations. So because I am using Thrive Life, right? Because I'm a consultant and I would love to be your consultant. Ooh, look at it starting to come out. That's what we're going with that. So if you are using a different kind of butter powder, you want to look at what they recommend on how to reconstitute it. That is your extra liquid that you're going to add in, okay? So the next tip is that reconstituting butter powder, if you need spreadable butter for topping biscuits, or other dishes, whatever, you know, baked potatoes, hello. You can reconstitute butter powder by mixing it with water according to the instructions on the back of the package also. Look at that bad boy go. Now you want to store your homemade mix in an airtight container to keep it fresh. That's important. Make sure you do that. I need a plate. You guys, this smells so good. You're going to love this. You are going to love this. And the fact that you can adapt it with different flavors, right, just makes it all the more yours. My favorite part is that it does not have to be refrigerated. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, it's the little things, guys. It's the little things. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Look at that. I am so happy for the DIY Bisquick mix. That is shelf stable, that you don't have to store in the refrigerator, that uses butter powder. I have a link down below. Coming up is something that a longtime dazer, our good friend Debbie, called me up yesterday and said, I know you can't can cream of chicken soup, but how can we make it? And I went, oh, you can do a mix. So she went off looking for that. I went off looking for that. You guys are going to love this. Next, we are going to have all of the fun. We're going straight from waffles to chicken. No, not chicken and waffles. It's going to be cream of chicken soup mix. And if you have ever had to throw together a casserole or something like that, and that calls for a can of that, it can drive you crazy if it's not in your pantry. Also, a lot of people don't really care for the ingredients in the canned stuff. So we are going to show you how to make your own. Now, again, I have Thrive Life milk, which, by the way, is at an awesome price, and it is my favorite. And we need 2 cups of this. This homemade mix is perfect for quick casseroles, comforting sauces, or any recipe that calls for a can of cream of chicken soup. And I suppose if you wanted to put it on your waffles, you probably could. But so you're going to do the dry milk, and then you're going to need cornstarch, and we're putting in 3/4 of a cup of cornstarch. So that's 3 of these. Okay. And then we're going to put in 1 cup of chicken bouillon. Now, I don't know of a conversion because this is literally the only stuff I use. It is Thrive Life's chicken bouillon, and it's a vegetarian chicken bouillon. But it's really good, and I have been using it for years. So we are adding 1/4 cup of that. I don't know of a conversion for that, so I'm not sure what other kind of powdered bouillons are out there. But if you want to take a look, this is available. And next we have our spices. The entire recipe is, again, linked down below, okay? And you're just going to want to get in there and mix that all up. Wow, that smells good. Because there's garlic and there's onion and there's pepper and there's the chicken bouillon. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, so that's what it looks like, all mixed up. And oh, I hope that shows really well. Look at that. It looks really good. I'm not going to make this for you right now because I don't need it, but it is awesome. It's an awesome replacement. Okay, so how to make it? You make the equivalent of 1 can of, cream of chicken soup, which again, we use for a lot of different things. You melt a tablespoon of butter into a pan. You take 1/3 of a cup of this mixture. That's going to last you for a while right here, right? And you mix that in with the butter and you kind of make a roux with it, right? And then you add in 1 cup of cold water or milk and you whisk that up gently, okay? Bring it to a slow, gentle boil. Then reduce it to a simmer, stir it frequently for about 5 to 7 minutes, and you have the equivalent of a can of cream of chicken soup. You didn't have to run to the store. You didn't have to throw out a can, and it's pennies on the dollar, and you know what's in there. Isn't that awesome? I love it. This isn't all the waffles. I still have more to make, but I'm running out of time. So I hope that you give these a try. The link for these recipes are down below. Part of the Beat Inflation Pantry Challenge is to test yourself, is to stretch your wings, try a few new things, right? So I hope that you give these a try. If you have a favorite DIY copycat recipe, throw it in the comments section down below. Share the wealth, my friends. Let's all start making all of our own stuff, keeping the ingredients the way that we need them to be. Be safe, my friends. Keep stacking it to the rafters.